Hey girlies, before we dive in, just a quick heads up. The advice, stories and opinions shared on Girlboss Bible are based on my personal experiences. This podcast is for inspiration and motivation, and I am by no means giving professional advice. So always do what's right for you in your situation. This podcast may contain strong language, some mild adult themes, and a 30-year-old attempting to still be cool. So be warned. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Girlboss Bible. This is the podcast for girls with goals, with growth, and with absolutely no reason to have life figured out in your 20s. Today, we're going to be talking about panicking, about being behind, stressing about timelines, and this can be for anything. So career, relationship, blow up, babies, family, whatever. And the most important message to come out of today is to remind you all that life is not a race. So just chill out and think of it as more of like a rhythm, and everyone's going at their own tempo and their own different speed. And whatever you're doing at that time is the right thing for you. So I don't want people panicking about where they're at. And I'm going to give you so many examples today of things that you wouldn't necessarily think have shaped me, but have. And it's really important that we relish and enjoy every minute of these years that we have, or that you have when you're younger. And I have actually spent a lot of the last 10 years panicking because, well, a few reasons really. One, I was convinced that I would have been a lot richer than I am. I mean, I'm not rich at all. I've not got any money. But yeah, I was absolutely convinced that I was going to be a millionaire by this point, and I'd be sat in that Bentley I spoke about in episode 1. And that created such a sheer panic in me. I was just always so stressed. Like, how have I not got there yet? I'm nowhere near it. And what I had to realize, and you will only realize this through growing up and growing through it, is that everyone's got their different starting lines as well as everyone being on a different rhythm to you and a different tempo. They're also starting in a completely different position to you. Some people might be more fortunate than you and are starting a little bit ahead, or some people might be less fortunate than you and they're starting a little bit back. And one thing that used to really annoy me was that privilege that I was lacking, and it used to anger me and really piss me off. And I've actually grown to love that now, because even though it's become a lot slower for me to get to where I need to, I've had to do things that somebody else who's a bit starting further up wouldn't have experienced, or wouldn't have learned through working a shitty job, or, all of these things make you who you are. So it's important to don't stress, like just it's important that you don't stress about doing the wrong thing or not doing the right job, or you're too far behind, etc. Because they're also shaping the person who you're going to become in the future. And before we dig deep into it, I think I want to talk about what is actually the problem here? Like, what is the reason that we are panicking and stressing about our timeline and the fact that we feel behind? Is it through comparison culture? Is it because of all the social media comparisons that we do at the moment? And I want to be as transparent with everyone as possible on this podcast, because I'm sure that if you were to look at my Instagram account and you was to see all of the travel I do and all of the holidays I go on and the hotels that I stay in, you would look at me and think she has got all of her shit together and she has got loads of money. And that could not be further from the truth. Most of my holidays go on credit cards, and I stressed constantly that I'm in the wrong place. I bought a house and it completely crippled me financially. It might look that I've been doing amazing, but those milestones that people would consider to be, out of this world, buying a house, for example, or going to Thailand, or I don't know, on holiday to Ibiza, look like milestones and achievements to somebody else. But really, I was just doing that out of pure joy. Well, not buying the house, but like, I'm doing them holidays out of pure joy. And really, the reality is it was crippling me financially. It's I just want to show you that transparency that it is when people say what shows on Instagram is not real. It's so, so true. Everything is so fake on there. And I'm not saying that from I hate Instagram because I don't. I love it. I love being on social media. I love sharing my life with my friends. I especially living here in Australia. Like I love being able to like show what I'm up to and things like that. But just don't trust it because everyone is going to be 100% their best selves on there. Everyone is going to show you the best they've got on there. And that's why this podcast, I want to make sure I'm being very transparent with it. Like things have been a struggle for me and it's not as glamorous as it may seem when I'm struggling to pay credit cards off for holidays that I went on like a stupid, stupid girl, but I had a good time doing it. And I learned things through it as well. So, those are still lessons I value because I am getting better with money now because of the way I behaved in my 20s. Another reason that people are stressing about their timeline is because there's these things that are like deemed as like invisible rules. Like you're meant to have kids by 30, you're meant to be married, bought a house, maybe even buying your second house, have this many promotions, be in this situation. I've been to uni, I've done this, I've been trained in this, all figured out by that point. It's absolutely not the case. I started my studies to be an accountant at 25. I've got Amber on next week, who's on the podcast, and she started her degree in her early 30s and has only just trained to be what she wanted to be. You don't have to have it figured out. Um, Kids, granted, it is a bit of a nightmare. There is a certain timeline on that, but I'll talk about that in a bit. And I think marriage, relationships, you don't need all that. Don't rush any of it. We've got so much time, even though life is short and you should seize the day. And that's very much the message I'm going to give across this podcast, this episode. But also, don't be in any rush for any of it. Why? Because let me tell you now, no offense if you just got married early, because I'm also engaged, but like people that get married early and get married young and stuff like that, half of them end up in one in two end in divorce. So you just like don't stress about it. It's fine. Get married at 40, get married at 40. You never get married. Clearly never meant to, but just don't stress about it. And another thing I think that we all stress about is wasting time with the wrong person, wasting time in the wrong job. Again, I don't believe any time is wasted. Even if you're in the wrong situation, obviously, if you're in a really bad situation, leave. But like if you're in even if you're in a bad situation, if you're in a job that you're not liking, those times for me were my biggest learnings. I had that job in London. Well, I had two jobs in London in recruitment. And the first one, I absolutely hated the culture of the place. I hated the way they did things. I hated the way they supported the team. And I used to cry going into work, and it only took me 3 months to leave there. But in those 3 months, I actually recognized I know how I don't want to lead. I know how I don't want to make my employees feel. And I know how I would run that business better. And I learned that in 3 months of being there. And I was in completely the wrong job, doing completely the wrong vocation for me. But it taught me so much. And then also and then I moved into another job in recruitment, and even just having that recruitment training, I know now how to recruit in the role I'm in. That those skills I've learned there, I can interview people. I know what I'm looking for on a CV. I know how to interview myself. I know how I'm going to write my own CV. I know how to present myself. I know all of these things because I did that job. And even though it wasn't the right job for me, it taught me so many things. And I'm so, so glad I did that. And at that time, all I was thinking was, what are you doing in this job, Kate? Why are you doing this job? You hate it. It's not going to get you where you want to be. I didn't have a clue what I wanted to do. So all of it was just screaming, panic, panic, panic. When in reality, it was one of the big periods of my life that taught me the most, which is amazing. So you just got to make sure you're always trying to understand what learnings and lessons you're getting out of these things. Nothing is a waste of time. There's always something you're learning from it that's going to shape you into the person you're going to become. And also, how funny is this? I've written all my notes, right, on these girl boss things that I've had made. And this is what I mean. I've written them upside down. So that it says the Girl Boss logo's upside down. So I've had to put one at the back there so I don't look like an idiot. Anyway, I've just told you about it. So, transparency. Yeah. And then the other thing is, like, in your 20s, you've got to know that it is the easiest time to enjoy your life. It's the easiest time to travel and go out, live, just breathe and live and have a good time. Like, that is when you will do that. If you spend I'm so glad I didn't spend my whole 20s bogged down in an office working 15, 16, 17-hour days. I would be much further on in my career. God, I'm so glad I didn't do that because I've got time to do that now. I'm gonna do that now. I'm gonna sit there now. I've got a new job here, and I've got to put the hours in. I've got to put the work in. But I'm in a position where I feel like God, got all that out my system now, and I can do that. Because all that's going to happen is I've seen it. You get to 50, and then they go wild and have a pure midlife crisis. Sorry to all 50-year-olds that are going for a midlife crisis, but it does happen. And that's when people cheat on their husbands or cheat on their wives and do mad shit because they've not got it out of the system in the 20s. I've done it all. So I think like you just don't stress, even if you're doing just stupid shit, don't stress about that. But the biggest advice I can give you is go and travel. If you can move to another country, go and do it. The lessons you will learn just by exploring the world. Think about this, yeah? At 20 years old, if you go on holiday on your own and you go somewhere mental like Asia or whatever, you have to navigate the airport on your own. You're taking full responsibility for yourself. You've got to take out your own travel insurance. You've got to organize your flight, your hotels, how you're going to get around. You've got to pack your own case. Don't take for granted the value of just even learning and developing those skills. If I hadn't have been so well traveled, doing the job I've got now would have been so, so difficult. So just the fact that I used to go on 4 holidays a year, I learned so much. I learn how to speak to other people in other cultures. I learn how they deal with things in Thailand. I've learned how they deal with things in Cape Verde. I've learned different ways of life that I've then adopted into my own. I might have taken, well, I love this, Cape Verde, we go a lot. My mum's actually there now on holiday. And they have a thing, Cape Verde, no stress, no stress, no. And it's like, yeah, just like that place made me think, oh, sometimes I just think, oh, no stress. And you will learn things even if it's just going on an all-inclusive holiday. You'll meet people, you'll be networking, you're socializing with people outside of your circle. There is massive value in just doing that alone. You're learning things all the time. So even if you're not, God, getting promoted 24/7, but you're going on 10 holidays a year, great, great. You're learning things, you're navigating life. You might actually have, I can't, your flight might get cancelled. You're stuck at the airport. That's teaching you resilience. The first time I ever went away on, where did I go? On a big, massive long coach journey. You know, Glasgow, like going Glasgow, like it's mad, right? But going to Glasgow, I had to learn patience going down on a coach, yeah, for so many hours. This was at 20 years old. I'd never been on that long of a journey in a car, just sat there. Don't get me wrong, me and my mates were all buzzing because we were going Glasgow, so it went quite quick. But you learn. I now have to do 24-hour flights. And without learning that perseverance in the build up of my 20s, do you think it'd be as easy for me to just jump on 24-hour flights now? No, it wouldn't. Anyway, yeah, you get there, then you've got to carry your bag, right? You've got to build up strength inside of you to carry all of your shit across that field. It's awful. It's hell in there, but it's awful. And that you just think, right, come on, you've just got to do it. Just again, a bit of resilience. I learned how to put up a tent. I learned how to set up my little room in my tent, put the blow up bed up, all that stuff, life skills that I wouldn't have had if I hadn't gone to Glasgow. Like, I know that sounds dumb, but it's so true. And like, it's enriched you as much as having the most amazing memories and time there. It enriches you. You meet also different people. There's political messages going on there. I learned stuff, opens your mind to make you think, right, well, actually, do I want to be this kind of person? Things like that. It all adds up to the person that you're going to become. Granted, I think it's probably taken about 5 years off my life expectancy. I'm just trying to show you how, even though you might think you're wasting your time by going out, socializing, going on holiday, you're not. You're still learning stuff. So don't panic about it. It's building your identity into who you're going to become because in your 20s, you still don't know who you are.
and you still don't even know. I'm still early 30s, but I'm getting a bit of an idea of it now. And all these things will start to shape you. And something that's really, I think, become a lot better is changing is how that sort of nuclear path of get married, have babies, that sort of linear style of life is very, very rare. You might be looking at people that are doing it, but it's very rare. And even behind the things, it could be their husband, even though it looks amazing, does nothing with the kids, or they've actually got no money, they're skinning and living in this big house and it's crippling them. You don't know how everyone's perfect is looking because it's not true. None of it is true. So just know that, like I said, I touched on it a minute ago. Buying a house is something that was real stress, and I felt like I felt pressured into buying a house from my family, from the society around me. All my friends were buying houses, and I felt like, God, yeah, I've got to buy a house. I've got to buy a house. I'm going to move out. I've got to buy a house. I can't rent. And I tell you now, I was not like financially stable enough to do that. I wasn't earning enough money, and I had no savings, and I had no furniture, and I also wanted to live. And I came out, I wish so bad I never bought that house. I came out so much worse off financially from buying that house. So if it doesn't feel like it's right for you, don't do it. Don't follow someone and don't follow the rest of the world just because they're doing it. It completely crippled me. And I'm still paying that price now. And I just wish I never bought it. I wish I'd have just rented a little furnished house because God knows you don't know where life's going to take you. And I wasn't even stable in my relationship or anything at that time. It was like, God, why did I do that? So don't again, don't feel pressured into having to do that just because everybody else is buying a house. Another thing which is a stress, and I do get this, and this is my real timeline stress right now, is having kids. And that is I can't sit there and give you advice on that right now because I'm in it. But all I can say is, first of all, I'm 30 and I can't see myself slowing down in my career anytime soon. But we've obviously got a ticking time bomb going on. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and get myself checked out soon and see how strong am I fertility wise. I think that's the best thing I can do for myself right now. And how long have I really got to play with? Do I need to start trying and then maybe think about a career break, or do I need to kind of pause it, crack on with my job and get to where I want to be, which probably never ending. So that's another thing. Or what do I do? And yeah, that's the thing I'm going to do next is go out and get a fertility test, see where I'm at, and then go from there. But that is my true stress right now. Do you know what? That one is quite valid because there is a timeline on it. And yeah, I ain't getting any younger. See what the options are there. But again, on that, I think even if you're surrounded by friends and you're feeling pressure from society and the fact that you've not had a child, your mates have had kids and you're playing with them, you're still learning maternal skills. You're still learning skills just because your friends have got children. Like one of my friends has got the most gorgeous little boy. Jen, she'll know I'm talking about it now. And he's the most amazing, amazing little boy. And he got brought into our lives as a friendship group as she was the first one to have a kid. And oh my God, we've all just become like super broody and maternal just from meeting him. And I've learned that I do love children just through being with my friend's child. So again, don't think of it as they've got that and I've not. Reframe your mindset to think, wow, what have I learned from this? Well, I've learned that I do want kids and that's taught me that and that's okay. So yeah, I think the main thing we need to all be doing is reframing our mindset and start reframing your mindsets, especially if you're in your 20s. And this can be the same for your 30s. Reframe your thinking that your 20s aren't a deadline. They're a draft. They're a draft for what's going to happen in your future. They're the perfect time to be making stupid mistakes. It's perfect. Because even if you do something as simple as like, I used to go out on work food and get so drunk. And now I think, God, I can't believe you used to do that. Why on earth would you do that? Don't do that. And I've taught myself that that's a bad thing to do. It's only through doing it that I've now developed into a better person for the role that I'm in now. And that's come at the right time. The timing's perfect on that. And you know what? I still had a good time doing that, but I've learned my lesson from it. And that timing at the time was perfect. So don't stress about it, because all the things we do, even if it's the wrong things, is what gives us the wisdom for when we're older. And it's that classic saying from older people when they'll always say, God, if I only knew what I knew, if what is it? If I knew now what I knew then. No. If I if I knew then what I knew now. Oh, sorry about that. If I knew back then what I know now, that's the thing. But it's so true. Robbie Williams has a quote, and me and my mum always say it. It might be me and my aunt too, actually, and we love it, and it's in Eternity. His tune Eternity. Eternity, that word. And he says, should I sing it? No, I don't know. He says, youth is wasted on the young. Before you know, it's come and gone. Too soon. Do, do, do. But it's so true. And I've lived that since being about 18. I always recognize that, 'cause my mum used to always point that out to me and go, that quote's so true, like, you don't understand how true that is. And I'm starting to understand it more and more. And that's what the thing is, like, if only you had youth when you know the things you know when you're older, but you don't. And that's the whole point of being young. The whole point of being young is to make mistakes, create some learnings, and develop yourself as a person. The thing that sticks out to me is every period of your life matters. The season you're in. So say, for example, if you're in a bit, you might need to be in your rest season, you're in your explore, your travel, your party season. You you know what I mean? Like, if you have to do any of those things, or a healing season, if you need to do any of those different times, then you're doing the right thing for you. There is so truly no timeline on everything, and I've learned that so much now. You've got to go at your own pace, and what's meant for you will find you, and it will all just start to come around. Like, it really truly will. Some things that started doing more recently, which has helped me stop stressing, and they've helped me stop stressing without me knowing. I didn't do these things to stop stressing. I did these things because I'm told that's what you're meant to do, like manifesting or journaling and da da da. So a few years ago, just post COVID, I wrote down 5 goals on a piece of paper. I just got a little book out, and it was in Jan, and wrote my goals for the year. And what I did was, I actually just put them away, and I never looked at them again. I wrote them, forgot all about them, and then I found them about 2 years later, and I read them all, and I'd done everything on there because they were achievable, sizable goals. It wasn't me. It wasn't, I don't know. It was things like buy my house, which I knew I was doing. One was to do with my football team that I started, which I did and I smashed. Like, there was things on it that was totally achievable. And I just wrote the 5 goals out, and I even drew little pictures on them and stuff. And when I opened it back up a few years later, because I'd completely forgot about it, I just found this book clearing out or something. I was like, oh my God. I was so astounded at myself that I'd done it without even putting it as a pressure on myself to do it, if that makes any sense. And when you are writing these goals, base them on a mixture of things, base them on joy, on career, and then, I don't know, some sort of personal development, something like that. Those are the 3 things I would include, because, like I said, that the travel thing is so important. Obviously, your career is super important, but you can chop and change that as much as you like until you find the right thing for you. Because if you don't do something you enjoy, you'll never do well at it. End of. If you go through loads of different types of job, also fine. That is what it's for. That's what your 20s is for. In London, I went through 4 different jobs in about 2 years till I found the right one. It's fine. And then even, the job I'm in now, I've worked for 5 years. I found it. It took me time. And even if that happens in your 30s, fine. If you start studying again in your 30s, fine. So be it. Find your passion if you don't know your passion. Also, it's okay. Even if you never find your passion. Cheryl was on last week. She was like, never knew what I wanted to do, and I still don't now, yet she's still smashing it in a sick job and doing really well. you might find something that you're good at rather than something that you're super passionate about, or something that comes natural to you or is easy for you. All of those things do exist. Yeah, I think when you're writing out any goals, because January is just around the corner and we all like to set, resolutions and don't set it as that. Just think of it as like little mini achievements that you could set for the year, or might be go to a certain place, a certain country that you've been wanting to go to, book that holiday, or one might be, I don't know, run a marathon or something. Nah, that's never been on mine. But I think no, I think one of mine was actually run a 5K or something, and I have done that as well. But don't overegg yourself. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, but you can definitely give yourself a really good little milestone goal set. Another thing I really want to encourage, and this, me and my friends are really good at this. We're very, very transparent with each other. So, and what do I mean by that is everyone knows everything about me in a sense. And within my close friendship group. And I think there's a lot of power in that because if you all know what's going on behind the scenes of each other, you're not in competition with each other. And so I would really urge you to be very transparent and also encourage your friends to do the same. Because even just like last night, some of my girls were around and we was talking and we was like, oh God, it's so good to talk about this with other people because I didn't know other people were like that or blah, blah, blah. Like, having that transparency really helps you stop stressing because you realize not everything's the roses that it all may seem. So urge your friends to be transparent and you yourself be transparent and then others will follow around you as well. I'm an open book. And I'm more than happy to be like that because I don't want to come across as anything that I'm not. I want you all to know who I am, and same with anyone around me. What you see is what you get very much. That helps so much with this. So yeah, like I say, encourage all of your peers and your friends to be super transparent with you, and that will really help. And lastly, one thing I have done more recently, I only started doing this last year when I took up this job, is journaling. And I don't do it every day. Granted, I've actually probably not done it for a good few months now, but I did it for about 6 or 7 months. And I tried to do it every day. I just had it by my bed. It ended up more sometimes that I do it maybe once a month or every day, or it was totally bitty, however I did it. But same thing again. When I read it back, I'm amazed at myself. It really helped me become in awe of myself because I never look back. I never think, what have I done? I'm always looking straight ahead. I'm always thinking next, next. I'm missing this. I've not done this. I'm not there yet. Blah, blah, blah. Whereas having that and looking behind and reading the things I was going through at that time and knowing now that I've overcome that and I'd fixed those issues that I'd written about, I was like, oh my God. And I even wrote things in it that I'd say, like, I'd maybe like been like, this is causing me an issue. This needs fixing. I'm gonna fix this. I'm gonna do this. And I've done it all. And I read it and I thought, oh my God, go, you're great. And that again, that's what's really opened my eyes to this sort of reframing everything to not being like a mistake, like everything to being a learning and everything I'm doing is enriching my life further. So I just think, yeah, the journaling's a real help. Do it as little or as often as you can, but then pick it back up and read it. Reading it is what's done me, not the actual writing it down. The reading back through it has changed my view of myself. It's actually, like I say, I was reading it back, I was a bit in awe of myself, and I thought, "You're actually amazing, like, what you've done is amazing." And, yeah, and I wish I'd have done it all my life. I wish I'd have done it all through my 20s because reading it back again, you would have seen yourself grow. And I've only done it for a year and I've seen myself grow so much. So I really, really would urge you to do it. And it doesn't have to be airy fairy. I've basically made it more just of a diary. And I love Bridget Jones's diary. And it's like, yeah, diary, I'm writing. And I feel like Bridget Jones writing in it, like, and such a body. Well, they can just fuck off. And it's just really funny. Yeah. Like, and looking fat as fuck today. Da, 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 da. And it literally, in my head, I am Bridget Jones, but I'm writing it. And it's great. And it also makes for a nice read then as well. So yeah, I would do that. I've also had a little write down of some prompts that I wanted to talk about, and just for you to consider, like, just for you to actually sit there and think to yourself of these things, because I think these are really important. So one of them is, if no one expected anything of me by a certain age, what would I have chosen and what would I be choosing to do? So if there was zero expectations for anyone in any time, what would you be doing right now? Why the hell are you not doing it? Do that thing. What is actually making you feel rushed? So what makes me feel rushed, and what makes me feel rushed, and who does that rush actually belong to? So if you're feeling dead rush yourself, why? Is it yourself putting that on you, or is it on them? And like say for example, and my mum's not rushing me at all. She's not pressuring me to have a child at all. But I know she's dying to be a grandma, and she's not doing that. She's not pressuring me to do that. But that might be a thing that's happening to you where you're thinking, well, actually that's on them. That's not on me. Don't feel that. So really ask yourself that question: what makes me feel rushed, and who does that rush belong to? And also, finally, and this helps with the journaling thing I've been talking about. What have I already achieved that younger me would be proud of? And that again, I never ever looked back and reflected all on all the things that I've done in my life. I used to just be looking forward, thinking I've not done enough, not done enough, I'm not there yet. And it's so dumb because I've done so much, so much, and I'm sure you will, you will have as well. Even if it's just passing an exam that you'd have found really hard, even if it's just finishing school, you thought you might never have done that, or even if it's getting into a university, or getting your first job, getting a promotion, or having a good appraisal, or even just sitting there and your boss saying to you, "Oh, you've been really great this week. Thanks for your help." That's a big achievement. Just reflect on that, and I think it's funny because this can lead us into boss move of the week, because I'd really struggle to pick one for myself, which is so ironic with what I'm saying. Like, I do, it's hard to praise yourself. I know it is. So by writing down your struggles and then reading it back, that helps you do it, because you're doing it in a sense of, you're looking at an issue and then you're looking at how you've overcome it, rather than like this week, I'm reflecting on myself. Like, what have you actually done, Kate? That's a girl boss move, because I don't do that much. What I have done that was a girl boss move is worked quite long hours, overcome jet lag, and well, that's it really. So yeah, basically, I landed at 7 p.m. on this is my boss move of the week, by the way. Landed at 7 p.m. I was in work for 8 a.m. I've had loads of meetings. I've been manic. I'd stay late Friday and work. I'm going to do some work now on a Sunday. Like, it is a manic week, but I've got a really, really good work week ahead next week, which is also going to be hectic. But somehow managed to overcome the jet lag, do a 24-hour flight, land, go straight into work and overcome jet lag. And that is a girl boss move of the week. And I'm buzzing about that. So yeah, that's my boss move of the week. Totally forgot to put it on Instagram and ask people what theirs were. So again, really sorry about that. Can tell I'm still learning and not perfect at this. But yeah, I think what I want you all to take from this is, you are never behind in what you are doing. You're not behind, you're building. Whatever you're doing, you are building. Every reset, every partying, every late night, every season, every time you feel confused, lost, that is all shaping you to be the person that you're meant to be in the future. So see the value in everything you're doing, even if you think you're wasting your time and it's the wrong thing, you're not. So yeah, that's it from me on timeline. I could probably talk all night on this, but if you feel like this has helped, please share it with your friends, like, comment, subscribe. But yeah, please just go enjoy life, make so many mistakes, live it to its fullest, party, study, do it all. And everything you do is making you the person you want to become, or you're going to become. So yeah, thanks for listening, and see you next week on Girlboss Bible. Thank you.